Mary is the only spoiled girl in John's family. She is a talented girl and a good swimmer. One day she runs errands from home in her father's car. Time with her friend Paige, who works in the city. They plan to do something they enjoy tonight. "We need female anesthetists so we can have a good time," Paige said. A young man who was buying there named Justin heard them and offered them. Paige, the drug dealer, met a pack of cigarettes at a party for minors, so Paige agreed to that, and they went with the young man to his apartment to buy them. He handed them the wine. They entered his apartment, where they had a good time with Justin, who was a very nice person. But their fun did not last for millions. Moments later, he and Justin Crook entered the apartment with his followers and took risks. With a gang in the area where their faces were all over the newspapers for the heinous crimes committed and Croc beating up his son, the strangers entered the apartment, and Asai told him that he would bear the consequences of that, and said what if they went to the Shinya and reported us. And after a discussion among his members about what they would do with what I know and she knows, they decided to rob Miriam's car. They took them hostage and then put them in an isolated group. There, Mary knows this forest well. Well, her factories are located near this forest, so they have a chance to escape to her house. She activated its functions on the handy lighter, and when Baghdad was ready, it burned Sadie, who was holding on to it, and she appeared to be trying to escape with her friend, and they were fighting the gang members, which led to an incident where they got into a fight and everyone broke away unharmed. After that, the Frenchman injured his nose, which increased his anger, and they began to torture and beat him while Justin looked at that and was not satisfied with what was happening, but rather tried not to do anything, as his father abused him and made him a criminal like them, and tried to force him to rape Mary. Paige called him the Holy Woman, while her friend's assistant was trying to do so. Crook became very angry at her words, stabbed her with a knife, and threw her to the ground to breathe her last. He then returned to Mary and contributed to this by violating her mercilessly. Miriam realized that her friend did nothing and there were no followers, so she carried a stone, hit Crook with it, and fled towards a nearby valley because she is pale and skilled and knows the place where there is a good place, and her chances of survival are great. She started swimming, but some of his men followed her, and Croc started shooting at her from the mountain. Despite that, Croc managed to swim and hit her. He was killed by a bullet. They left her lying there, drowning in her own blood. The gang had no way out of the woods until they found an office near the place. He went to ask for help, and it was the same house as Mary's family. He was greeted by her husband John as soon as they were able to help them, as they presented them with any symptoms. His doctor, John, also treated and stitched up Francis's wound, and they do not really know that they have assaulted their daughter, and both birds do not know another identity. Zimba Crook asked for a phone to call a car that would take them out of the forest safely. They did not find any phone signal in the place, so they decided to leave. But the couple asked them to leave the vineyard and spend the night in his guest room because tonight was something wrong, so he agreed. Therefore, Justin was upset and wanted to tell his husband how dangerous this was. But his father, Croc, was always watching him and warning him not to refuse anything that would include them in the disobedient subscriptions. Justin was in the kitchen and saw a picture of Mary hanging on his refrigerator, so he realized that it was their daughter and fell to the ground in shock. Controlling himself, he took out Mary's necklace that was in his pocket and put it in the kitchen until the couple got along. Mary was still living on a living, and she ran towards her house. After the members of his class went to the reception room, John heard the sound of a knock on the door, and when he went to check on the matter, she found his daughter Mary, lying on her bed. The land was infected and in a deplorable condition, so she was admitted with treatment for her wounds, stopping her bleeding, and it was known that she had been raped after he saw the blood. Emma also found her daughter's necklace in the kitchen, so she knew that his child, Justin, had started there, and they realized that they would welcome them. They did that to their daughter, and that they were a gang of criminals, so John asked the immigrants. For the immigrants, on the other hand, they ran out of what would happen, so the young men, Justin, stole his gun without them paying attention to him, and John went to the Cabo to get this self-defense weapon. Meanwhile, Francis entered upon Emma after he could not sleep, so Emma began trying to distract her until he did not see her daughter and discovered that they had known her. their identity, but while leaving the house, he was shocked after he saw Mary lying down with the three of them. He had to do any reaction. He was hit by Emma and then stabbed him with a knife. Francis was trying to enter them, and they were able to enter him in Galsalhoun, where he was stuck. Then John killed him by hitting him in the head, and he fell to his lifeless body as a result of that. The guest room, where the gang members were having breakfast, and Justin gave them his father John's gun, and when he tried to complete the third shot, his hero, Sadia, was injured, and Krug was able to escape after throwing himself from a window. Sadie shared it alone, as Justin helped the wife, and now they entered into a struggle until he stopped Emma by firing a bullet that killed her in the head. She fell dead. After that, Emma prepared the boat while John went and faced his mother, Cork. Cork was strong and weak and could not attack John's cars, as Korg was throwing him from one place to another until his son Justin appeared as well. The gun was pointed at him. Korg tried to calm him down, but Justin did not listen to him. Then he shot his father. Unfortunately for him, the gun was full. Korg became angry in the audience. He intended to kill him and stabbed him, trying to kill him, so the couple took advantage of the opportunity. With the attack on him and Mock to overthrow him, and simple controls on the last member of the gang, the sun rose, and John and his family set off to transport their daughter, Mary, with Justin to the hospital. And then Cork, only to find himself paralyzed after John's doctor performed a medical procedure to torture him. Then he inserted his head into the oven, where he burned to death, in revenge for what he did to his daughter.